Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Smart Outsourcing Talks. And today we have um, you know uh, very experienced guest, I would say, and she's one who have sold firms and teaches on how to kind of build a scalable firm. So, Sharrin, welcome to this Smart Outsourcing Talk.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And before we go ahead, let me just introduce to you to our guest. So Sharrin is a strategist who turns overwhelmed practice owners into a confident CEOs. Okay, she is a CEO of Glass Wallet Ventures, where she helps accounting firm leaders build scalable businesses using her proprietary scalable to sellable systems. She is also the secretary of executive board of directors of Accounting and Financial Women's Alliance, AFWA. And we were just chatting that she is also a chairperson of this year's Women Who Count conference. Sharrin started her entrepreneurial journey in 2006 without a formal accounting background and grew her first bookkeeping firm from a solo hustle to a multi-million dollar, and she sold it in 2020. She then repeated the feat, quickly building and existing another firm all under 6 months. So she is a serial accounting firm entrepreneur. Today, she runs multiple seven-figure businesses, all while working just 3 days a week. And you need to talk more about this, Sharon. I'm going to dig on this, proving that the strategic systems can drive both successes and freedom. As a systems coach, she teaches firm owners how to team up strategically, rebuild operations from the back end, and finally step into the CEO seat. Her Clone and Conquer method, an online community hub, supports firm leaders looking to go from a bottleneck to breakaway efficiency and doing it sustainably. Sharrin also hosts the live podcast Stuck to Scaling, the $1 million journey, where she explores the real emotional and operational challenges of scaling with grit, humor, and no fluff. Beyond business, Sharrin values relationships deeply. She cherishes the team members who have grown her through every exit and pivot, and often says that your team isn't a support, it's a system in itself. Sharing straightforward, actionable frameworks born from personal trials and trumps, and what get firm owners unstuck, systematized, and ready for whatever comes next. Sharon, such a great pleasure to have you on this show. Let's take our
That was
listeners.
amazing. Who wrote that about me? I feel like I'm about to get an Oscar. That was amazing. And with your accent, it made it sound so much more like fancy.
Thank you. It's all worthy of it.
I
Yeah.
didn't write that.
So,
So somebody, I don't know if that was you guys or someone on my team, but that was awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to leave now.
okay,
Love it.
Sharon. So, anything you want to add to what I said?
No, that's a lot. I think that's a lot. I do a lot. We all know. Anybody who knows me, I'm a very high functioning ADHD individual, which most are, and I get bored easy. I start new things. I'm a fixer. Get it going, leave. Fixer, get it going, leave. And I'm just a serial entrepreneur and just always trying to find a better, faster, more efficient way to do things and not lose quality.
And I always find you on high octane. How do you keep this energy?
That is just me. I got asked yesterday, someone's like, Sharon, maybe we switch to decaf. I'm like, I don't drink coffee. I don't take, this is just, I had to quit drink. Actually, if I drink caffeine, it either makes me crazy or puts me to sleep. But no, I'm just very high strung, high energy, even at 45. It's just, I've always been this way. So
Your energy is charismatic. It just touches everybody around you. So great.
in some way
So
or another, yes.
okay, so let's get started on today's topic. So let me first ask you, what are the usual top bottlenecks when a firm is struggling to scale? You find.
The owner. It's always the owner. It's the person in charge. They are the bottleneck. They're bringing people on. They're trying to do something, but they can't get out of their own way. They can't let go and try new things. They have to do what they've always done. And the problem is they're trying to get a different outcome. And if we look that up, that is called the definition of insanity. So bottleneck is you. The owners are the bottleneck.
Mm. And how do they take the first step to change that?
They have to kind of almost like I don't want to use this metaphor. They have to hit bottom. They have to hit rock. For most people, to me, that I've met, they've gone on a vacation with their family and they were not able to unplug. And their kids were at Disneyland or playing on the beach or having fun. And they had to stay back at their hotel and work the entire time because they either had somebody who didn't show up to work, somebody that couldn't do it, an emergency. They have to do everything. And so they are never able to unplug. And they come back and they're like, I'm missing everything. I can't do this again. How do I fix it? And they really have to come to that I'm missing something, point in their life to fix it. Just like anything else, right? You kind of have to hit your rock bottom in the situation.
Mm-hmm. And so how do they come out of this too much dependency on them, right? As a firm owner, because I think it's a journey, right? When you start, you are all alone and all, it's okay. But when you start kind of growing, how do you shift this too much dependency, and how do you lose kind of a control and start, believing in people?
It's hard. It's like trying to make a bed while you're still sleeping in it, right? So I'm trying to get to people ahead of this. I'm trying to get to them where they've just started or they're just getting into it and try to tell them, hey, do it right from the beginning. I'm telling you. But I just created my clone and conquer video to tell them how to just get one thing off their plate at a time. A lot of times accountants, we're problem solvers. We want to fix everything. We need to see the end road. We need to see the solutions. But what I tell people to do is make a list. Make a list of all the things that you don't want to do that you shouldn't be doing. And now let's find the easiest one on that list and let's get it off your plate first. Okay, now how much time did you get back? 15 minutes a day? Great. Let's take that 15 minutes tomorrow and get something else off your plate until eventually you've got enough off your plate and you're starting to systematize small things at a time and handing them off at a time. And you're overseeing maybe that one thing. So instead of coming in and going, whole new person, take all this, and then you're having to micromanage them, give somebody one thing at a time, make sure they do it correctly. Give them the next thing, make sure they do it correctly. And then one piece. And it's not so overwhelming. You don't get that immediate breath of fresh air. But here's the thing, you didn't end up that way overnight. So you're not going to end up that way tomorrow. It's going to take some time.
And how do you prioritize on that? What is the first thing that you need to kind of push into somebody's plate, and then
my favorite thing to ask them is what they hate doing. What do you like? What comes up that you're like, I'm pushing this off, it has to get done, I can't stand doing it? Get that off your plate first, because it's got to get done, but you don't like doing it. For me, it's anything in marketing. I don't like marketing. I just don't enjoy it. It's just not my thing. So the first thing I did when I came to replacing tasks in my company is I'm like, I don't want to do marketing. It'll never get done. I'll push it off. So I brought someone in for marketing. And then from there, I was like, it doesn't do my business any good for me to do data entry and reconciliation. I'm good at it. I love it. It's fun. But it does me no good. And it also does me no good to pay somebody W-2 to sit here and do it, which is why we moved to outsourcing for a lot of that work, because I love that when we wake up the next morning in the accounting firm, because they're on a different time zone than us, everything's just done and we get to get our stuff done for the day. So to me, it's really about identifying the things you don't like, and then identifying the things that cost too much money for you to do yourself. Like you should have an hourly wage set for what you do. And if you're like, okay, I would bill out $150 an hour. Is somebody going to pay me $150 to code their books? no, okay, well then I better find a different solution for that.
Hmm. And coming to this, the first firm. I mean, you started in 2006, and then you sold in 2020, and the second firm you just sold it in 6 months, right? So, how would
Um,
you configure a sellable firm? So it is instituted from day one, or how it works?
no, no, I'm ridiculous. I'm actually just about finishing my book. That's actually it's my journey to my 3-day work week, and I can tell you that I built my firm in 2006, started it, it became what it did, sold it. It was actually 2021. Left the firm that bought us, started 2 more firms with 2 partners, and then this is all in my book. You guys will have to get it. And then I ended up buying out my partners, merging them together, and I
Hmm.
still, at that point, was still
Hmm.
not practicing what I was preaching. I
Hmm.
created a course. I'm going to conferences, telling people what to do, but I'm not doing it in my own firm. And I finally got to the point where I'm like, I'm a hypocrite. This is ridiculous. So
Hmm.
I thought, I'm going to try the
Hmm.
system I built in my own firm and see if it works. And I
Hmm.
did. And I'm not kidding you. Like in 3 months, for a long time, I've only worked 4 days a week. I took off Fridays. So I worked Monday through Thursday. And once April hit, or I think it was, no, March, I said, okay, guys, I'm only working Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday now. We've got everything so beautiful and systematized across the 3 companies I run that
Hmm.
I'm not working Monday and Friday anymore. It's just not happening. And I don't. But it was really about swallowing my pride and kind of listening to the advice I was giving to other people, but listening as if I wasn't taking it from myself, right? Because
Hmm.
the housekeeper's house is always the messiest. We're great at doing it for other people and seeing how to solve for other people, but then we don't take care of our own. So
Hmm.
yeah, so this year, I was sitting there. We got the firm was just running amazingly. We went down to 2 people, full time W-2 here in the US, and then we added in outsourcing. And we actually added in our systems were so great that our outsourcing people, we were able to put them down to 2 full time to 2 part time, which I feel bad that we don't have as many hours, but it was so
Hmm.
systemized and
Hmm.
efficient. And
Hmm.
anyhow, so yeah, so I thought, okay, I think I'm going to do so. I think I'm going to move on to just
Hmm.
really helping other people do this and really focus on that. So I said, I'm going to sell my firm. And within a week, I had 3 offers. Within 2 weeks,
Wow.
I was under LOI, and we are actually under contract right now. And it should be closing within the next week or so. So pretty soon, I will no longer be the owner of the accounting firm. But I will have Glass Wallet, where I'm
Yeah.
focusing only on advising accounting firm
Hmm.
owners now.
Hmm. Hmm. That's great. And do you have any blueprint to create a sellable form? I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
what are the critical uh, criterias, which is
Uh-huh.
kind of a must-have for making it a sellable form?
So everything that you have has to be documented. I'm talking documented, as if whoever does it no shows, poofs,
Hmm.
Thor poofs them from the planet one day and they're gone and you have to come
Hmm.
in and take over for them. That was a Captain or a Marvel's reference. If you didn't grab that one, just
Yeah.
Thor, Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry, Thanos. That's why you didn't laugh. Thanos.
Hmm.
You have to be prepared to step in for them. And anybody should be able to step in and do the job based by a video or a how
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
right there. And if you can create that,
Hmm.
then you're going to be in a great position to onboard people, which is how we're able to just onboard outsourcing so easy. We didn't
Hmm.
have to do any one-on-one training with our outsource
Sure.
people.
Hmm.
I said, here you go. Here's
Hmm.
how our company
Hmm.
works, and here's every
Hmm.
task you have. And within every task is a video
Hmm.
and a scribe and step by
Hmm.
step of how to do it.
Hmm.
And it worked. So that's the number one thing, document. The second one's going to be how your contracts are laid out. And the third is going to be how tied your team internally are to your clients.
Hmm.
Because you have to remember that the team doesn't have to go when you sell your firm. They can stay or they can
Hmm.
go somewhere else. And so
Hmm.
if you think, ooh, if so and so ever quits, we're going to lose this client, you have an issue that you need to solve for.
Hmm. Hmm.
Those are my top 3 high things.
Mm, mm, mm. So coming to the first one, documenting and creating SOPs and videos for training and stuff like that. So how do you decide to um, you know because you already have a team in place. Okay, so how do you
Yes.
decide which are the things which needs to be documented, which are the things that needs to be, videos needs to be created, and which are the thing which an accountant can do just on their own?
Yeah. Well, we document everything. So in our firm, there's a rule to where everything that the client does has a measurable service, a statement of work, and it's scoped. And when they sign it, it comes into our project management tool and it assigns a template. And this template gives you the step-by-step that ties out to what this scope is. So it's completely measurable. So if a client or a task comes through that does not have a template, my team knows to say, hey, Sharrin, there's no template and there's no process. Can you write it up? And then I go in and I look at it and I get it written and I put it in. The way I
That is
started
like
this,
creating a workflows for each of the client.
for the task. So we try to make we're lucky in our company, it's niched. So all of our clients are health and wellness. So a lot of them are the same. But for the most part, regardless, if you're doing accounting, it's, you code, you reconcile, there's certain things. So we have a template. And then of course, with each template, we'll put the anomalies that are for just that one client in their recurring task. So you can jump into our project management tool, and you should be able to jump in and see step by step by step, even if it's tedious, of everything that needs to be done and what and how. And I did that by jumping in and looking. I went into every single task that was in our project management tool and every single SOW and just made sure that something was written for all of it. So again, one by one by one. Sure. And sometimes you have to do the task to actually document it, but that's okay. You do it one last time, document it correctly, and then hand it off.
And second, you spoke about the outsourcing team. So, so does outsourcing team help to, of course, find the resources, but does it help to create a scalability and sellability?
Yeah, the beautiful thing I love about outsourcing is number one, I feel like they have better work ethic in other countries. Sorry, America, I'm American, I can say it. I feel that India, we have an individual in Pakistan and an individual in Bangladesh, and the ethic there is just so much better, and they really have a lot of pride in their work. Whereas over here, you have a really hard time finding people that have that. But what's beautiful about it is that if your firm does sell and you grow, they grow with you. And here's the only piece. So I think I told you in the beginning. So we were going to use FinSmart, of course, but I thought I need to test this system out and see if it works. And so I tested it, and then I thought to myself, okay, here's the only downfall of using an individual versus a company is that when we do grow, I have two individuals. Whereas if I was with someone like you and my two individuals were with you and I needed more people, you internally train them for me, right? So that's the beauty. But that's also the great thing about growing is if I sell my firm, I'm like, hey, they will go with you because they're a contractor, they're a vendor, and they're going to keep doing the same work. And you don't have to worry about their W-2 and their contracts. You keep paying them, let them keep doing what they're doing, and they're ready to go. So it is much more scalable and holds more value in the outsourcing than it does of the actual people in seat.
And what is your tech stack looks like? So what are the important tech pieces that a firm owner should have if they want to create a scalable and sellable firms?
Do you want to know the exact ones, or do you want to know just a high level? Because I love talking about this stuff. I love tech. You know this. I love tech. I love Zaps. I write over 200 Zaps. We use Rippling for HR, payroll, internal operations. Anchor is amazing for writing your proposals, your invoicing, your billing. That's great. Our whole entire team is ran on Client Hub. It's how we communicate with our clients. They sign documents, they upload, we manage their files, we assign them tasks, they come back to us. Every single thing is in Client Hub. We're only a QuickBooks Online firm. We don't use any other software. Of course, that's for efficiency. And then our whole team communicates via Slack. We call it's our communication center. So our emails, our texts, everything go into there, so we all have visibility. We have a few little ancillary pieces that we use, but honestly, they've been dwindling off as client hubs become a stronger product. We've been able to downsize on some of the other pieces because now Client Hub has the
Yeah.
piece that we need. So it's been really nice as we grow. Also, just started using PathQuest for business analytics, and that's I really like that. I was really actually surprised at how really cool that was. So yeah.
And any of the AI tools or the new age things that are coming up, do you use?
As it, well, I mean, everything has AI in it now. I'm a big proponent of Chat GPT. If you're talking to it correctly and you're utilizing it more, I utilize Chat GPT to brainstorm. It is like almost like I'm sitting there I really have a full on conversation and come up with ideas. And it's great for that as long as you're not using it to, you can tell when people are just using Chat GPT versus utilizing Chat GPT.
Even I do a lot, so a lot of times,
Oh yeah.
Maybe my partner is not available for conversation, or some team member is not available, that Chat GPT is the first that comes, and you just converse and get best out of it.
I'm far too dependent on mine. I actually just used her. It's a she. She's a she. She just helped me wipe a computer clean, and then I honestly just go to her for everything. She's almost like my Hey Siri. I just get in and I'm like, let's talk about this, and then I save the chat so I can go back next time. My chats are they're subfoldered and organized as you can only imagine.
And another component that comes to my mind is that, when you start a firm, that a lot of times you are the face of the organization, the face of your firm with the clients. So as a firm owner, how do you reduce this dependence of front facing with the client? Because if you intend to sell someday, this becomes a roadblock.
Yes. Absolutely. For me, it's about lines in the sand, boundaries, and departments. So we know exactly, we have processes of how everything is, how clients are supposed to reach out to us, if they reach out to us, who it belongs to. And so typically it took a little bit. It took like 3 to 4 months of me saying, hey, I just got this. Let me add in Monica, and Monica's going to respond. And then after you do that 2 or 3 times, they get the point, okay, apparently I'm supposed to go to Monica, not Sharrin, right? But it's a habit that you have to break internally, and it's boundaries you have to set for yourself. And when you have somebody else on your team whose that job it is, and you as an owner keep stepping in and answering for them, you're actually really demotivating your team. Because they're like, what? Sharrin doesn't think I'm good enough to answer this. So you have to look at it from both ways of I shouldn't be doing this. It's not my job. And I need to empower my team to take this on because that's their role and that's what they want to do. But it's, again, the owner. The owner is the bottleneck on everything, always is.
But so who should be on your team, when you want to kind of delegate the front facing roles, right? So and there are two important front facing roles. One is the sales and marketing, because as a small firm owner, you go out and market there, and second is an advisory piece. So when there is something that a client needs, you just jump into it.
I think, in my opinion, a lot of owners end up staying in that business development and the sales role because they know their product and they're good at selling it, which is great. And I tend to get on those calls a lot because I really like them. I like developing those relationships. But then once that closes, we have a customer success person, and she is in operations. She's in charge of problem solving. And then we have an accounting person, an accounting manager, and she handles anything accounting. Everything else, like, they handle the communication. Everything else is outsourcing behind them, doing their support work. So I've only got 2 people that have to actually communicate with the clients and know what's going on. And behind them, they've got support staff getting things done, and they've got technology. So they're able to actually be proactive and nurture the relationships with the clients while their support team behind them is getting the actual work done.
And Sharrin, coming to now the mindset. Okay, so you have been speaking about mindset a lot, because you said the owner himself comes in. So when you are looking at truly building a business which is bigger than yourself, what is the
Yes.
mindset shift that should have happened, okay, and how to do that.
Yep. So you have to go in with your end goal.
Mm,
Most people in accounting have left an accounting firm because they've got tired of working for other people. They don't like how they do it. Maybe they don't like how they were treated, or they don't like how the
mm,
clients were treated. And they thought, I'm going to do this on my own because I can do it better. And that's great.
mm,
So they
mm,
jump in and they just start getting it done. And the next thing you
mm,
know, they've got a lot of clients. They have to start hiring people. And oh shoot, I'm not a solo practitioner. I now have a firm.
mm,
So in between that point, you have to have an end goal. You have to know where you're going. None of us go on a road trip without having
mm,
our map set out and
mm,
knowing where we're stopping for gas and
mm,
staying the night.
mm,
At some point in the beginning of your company, you have to say, where is this going, or where do I want it to go?
mm,
And then from there, you can make the correct decisions. And
mm,
every decision you make from that point forward is going to be, does this align with this roadmap?
mm,
And it allows you. It's when you get almost through and you're like, oh shoot, now I don't know what I'm doing, and then you have to go back and fix. That's where the problem is. So
mm,
just like anything else, you got to have your goal. You have to decide, why am I doing this? What do I want it to do?
mm,
What am I going to do in 10 years?
mm,
How do I want to close this thing down when I'm done? Am I going to sell it? Am I going to give it to my
mm,
employees? Am I just going to
mm,
shut it?
mm,
But you have to know what you want.
mm, mm. And how difficult it is to get into the shoes of a CEO, because you start as an accountant, you start as a technician, and then you move
Mm-hmm.
to a CEO where you are not a technician or accountant, right? I mean, you will be
Yeah,
managing
yeah,
HR, people,
yeah.
talent, strategy, sales,
Everything.
marketing, everything, right? So there is
Yeah,
any hardly any time where you would be doing an accounting, right? And I
yeah.
I keep hearing that this is the biggest journey, from shifting a technician to being a CEO. So what is what's your experience in this?
Well, keep in mind, you don't have to do that. Just because it's your firm, you could still do the part you like. You just bring in the people to do the parts that you don't want to do. You don't have to be the CEO that runs everything. You could still be the CEO and the accountant, right?
Mm,
But maybe you don't want to do the sales and marketing. Maybe you don't want to do these pieces, and that's okay. You're still the glue that's holding everything together. But just because you own an accounting firm doesn't mean that you can't do the work as well, if that's what you want to do. I
mm,
did it, of course, as a solopreneur for many, many years. And when
mm,
my team needs help, I still will step
mm,
in and help them out. The
mm,
problem is, when I step in, I realize how much I actually love the work and it's so
mm,
fun. But
mm,
I'm beyond that now. Beyond that, meaning I've built something to where I don't have the time to be able to
mm,
do that. But
mm,
I know plenty of people that have a firm with many people in it, and they still handle clients. And there's nothing wrong with that, as
mm,
long as it's aligned with the goals of what
mm,
your business has, and as
mm,
long as you have somebody that is able to do the pieces that
mm,
you should be doing. A really good operations person, maybe a right hand, somebody who can
mm,
handle all those pieces and just keep you
mm,
updated while you have your clients stack. I mean,
mm,
there's nothing wrong with that
mm,
whatsoever.
mm, mm. And how do on I mean, how do firm owners acquire a kind of an investor's mindset, right? Because ultimately they would be moving to that goal, when you create a sellable
Hmm.
firm. So, you know, uh, how do you do that?
I think the easy way to do it to think about is, if I let somebody look under the hood right now, would I be embarrassed? And that should be your number one thing. Like, if somebody came in and said, here's a check for $10 million, if I can see how you have these, how you're running, are you process, let me see your contracts. Where are they? And if I can, I'll give you this check, no questions asked. And you should always think about that, because that's really
Mm,
kind of how it happens, right? Like,
mm, mm,
one day someone comes up to you and they said, hey, I really want to buy your firm. I like what you've got going on. I'll give you 2 times whatever your revenue is. And
mm,
you're like, yay. But then you don't realize you have to go into due diligence. And that's where they start looking under the hood. And
mm,
then all of a sudden that $2-3 million you were going to get is down to like 900,000,
mm,
because you didn't have a few things in place that you should have when you were going. So it's all about doing it right from the beginning, and just there are certain things you just shouldn't put aside. And as accountants, we should know that, right? We tell our clients to be prepared
Yeah.
in case of an audit.
Mm.
Make sure our clients' files are gorgeous, but our own look terrible. And we
Mm.
have to treat ourselves like we would treat a client. And if we can't, then find a company, like trade with a friend. You do their books and their accounting, they do yours, and you guys keep each other's stuff in line. And that may be a good way to do it. A little bit of trade-off there.
And in your experience, when you how do you test your firm is ready to operate without you? So you take long holidays, or you just go back and see, what are the strategies that you have deployed, or
Yeah.
you advise now?
It was baby steps. For me, it was first when I said, I lost my mom a couple of years ago, and I was out for a while. And that was where I learned, okay, my firm still ran. I was really out for about 4 or 5 months. I peaked in, but I didn't really do anything. Did they grow? Did they thrive? No, not at all. But they were fine. They kept going. And when I came back, I thought, okay, I need more time. So I stopped working Fridays. And I noticed nobody bugged me on Fridays. And Monday through Thursday was a tiny bit busier, but not much. And then really, I just started paying attention, and how many times are people reaching out to me? What is the amount of time I'm spending on this? And keep in mind, I have 3 different companies I'm working on. So I really try to pay attention which one's pulling me in certain ways. And once I got to the point where I'm like, we'd have weekly calls and there were no fires to put out. There were no angry customers we had to talk to. There was nobody quitting. That's when we know that we had a system in place that was actually working, that everybody was happy, clients were happy. And the silence, which is normally scary, was actually exciting, because we were meeting expectations of clients before they were having to ask us for it. And so the clients had nothing to come at us for, because we're like, here you go, give us this, where are you at? Instead of them going, where is this? Why don't I have this? So it just kind of fell into place, but it wasn't overnight. It was one thing at a time, and try something, it doesn't work, try the next thing. Try something, does it work? Okay, that works. Now let's move on to the next thing.
And coming to the last part of it, so when a firm decides that, okay, they want to plan for an exit, okay, so when should firm owner start thinking about exit? And what does actually a saleable component would be for them, which they need to really focus on?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you should think about your exit the minute you start a company. You should really think about, because how you grow it is going to depend on that. If you're growing a company to give it to generationally, make it a family business, hand it down to your kids, you're going to do it differently than if you're planning on growing it to a certain level and selling it for money. Or this company is going to the grave with me, right? Those are all different exit strategies. But by knowing that, you're going to know how you need to move forward. Most people end up just getting acquired. Private equity has been huge on that. And when they come in, the first thing they do is they look at your numbers. They look at your financials to see if it makes sense. They question the hell out of that. And then they look at your compliance. How are you as a company? Are we going to get sued? And then from there, they start looking at your contracts and all of that. The last thing they start looking at is what they say sticky your clients will be, which means how many of your clients, once we sign, are they going to leave? Are we going to have problems? Are they tied to? There's just a lot of components into it. So if you can build a company that has strong transferable agreements, make sure you stay in compliance, and make sure not one person, if there's one person in your company that will leave, and if they left, clients would leave, you got to fix that. Those are the things that they're absolutely looking at. And can it be replicated without you actually being there?
Fantastic. Yeah, great points. And how does the valuation work? So what are the factors on which it depends, and what is the industry norm right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So it really depends on. They look at a lot of things. So typically in the accounting industry, you hear a lot of 1.2, 1.5x, which means whatever your revenue is, because they're not interested in your debt. They're interested in what your revenue is. So if I make $1 million a year, a typical accounting offer is going to be anywhere from 1.2 million to 1.5 million. Then from there, they'll take it down, depending on, again, your contracts. Are they transferable? Are your clients going to come over? Do they have to? Is your team going to come over? What are your processes? How much does it really take to run this? Like if you're making $1 million, but it takes you 990,000, there's something wrong and you probably don't have a company. They do right away look at your EBITDA. They look to see what is your net profit margin? What is this going to look like? Are they even profitable? And of course, you can back out all the things. Like for me, for my accounting firm, I run everything through that. So I had to back it out. I'm like, hey, when I leave, these things don't go with it. So this is where we really are if we take Sharrin out of the equation. And then we come up to a very profitable EBITDA, which I think was 42%, which is absolutely great. And when you have something like that, and you have very processed, technology-based, outsourced and transferable contracts, your valuation goes higher. So my evaluation actually came back at 2.2.
2.2. Oh, wow.
So
and you said that the average is 1.2 to 1.5. You got 2.2.
Yeah. So, and I actually sold it for under 2. I sold it for 1.8. I actually only sold it for 2x of my recurring revenue.
Okay.
I didn't even charge for my one time, my tax people, I only charged them for what I could say. Here's my clients that are in contract that have to stay with us for 12 months and they auto renew. I based it off of that. Everything else, that's all you guys. You do whatever you want with it because I didn't want an earn out period. I just want my money. I'm handing it to you. Don't ruin it. Right. But I learned from my first company of how to set up this one so I could actually do that.
Great. And what are the maybe pitfalls or mistakes one should avoid while selling? What are those critical tips that you would want to give?
Your contracts are everything.
Okay.
They always look at, so a lot of accountants are like, I just want people, if they don't want to work with me, I want them to be able to go. So I just do month-to-month agreements or no agreements. It's like a handshake. You don't have anything to sell. There's nothing there to sell, right? Like what you're actually selling is your contract, is the agreement you have with this client. You're selling that to somebody else to take over that revenue. So if you can have a contract that is at least annual, one year, and it's even better if it makes sure that it can be transferred without being in writing. And this is all, talk to your lawyer. This all depends on your state. In my state, I'm fine. I can transfer my contract and I don't have to give anybody any notice. I don't have to tell anybody anything. I'm just like, hey, here's the new owner. And they auto renew. So that right there puts our value way higher than anybody else.
There will always be an exit clause, right? So
yeah, usually mine does. Mine has a clause in there about contract, like the transfer of the contract, and it just says I have the right to transfer it at any point in time, and I don't have to give notice. And the new person has to take on the contract as it is, as the value, as the terms. It's like almost transferring a lease or somebody buying a home with a renter in it. You're like, okay, the lease, the rent, the contract transfers to you. You don't even have to tell the renter, right? You just, once it sells, you go, hey, by the way, you're going to start writing your check to this guy. And they're still under contract. So just in your state, make sure yours says that. Now, one thing people don't realize, just because you have a 12-month contract doesn't mean that you have to keep your client in it. You, as the owner, as the one issuing the contract, if you have a client that comes to you, it's like, I am unhappy or my business closed, you can waive that 12 months and let them out of it. Sure. It's not a two-way street. It's a one-way street. You're telling them this is your agreement to me, but I can waive that for you. So for anybody who's like, but I don't want to hold my clients to 12 months. Well, you don't have to. But if you want your firm to have any sort of value, you need to let them know that that's what you do, and let them know that, if you were to sell this, that you don't have to tell them this, but make sure that there's an agreement that says it's there. But just know in your head that you don't have to.
Sure. Yeah. And so, Sharrin, how your advisory model works? So what do you do actually in terms of advising the firm owners?
I'm really excited about this. So I created a community. We're giving it away free through November 30th. So anybody that wants to hop in can hop in. And
mm,
within this community, it's a lot of, I'm doing what I'm calling my clone and conquer videos, which is doing a video to show you how I do things, how I get things off my plate, how
mm,
just my method and my madness, and trying to
mm,
make it very, very simple and broken down for everybody.
mm,
And that's
mm,
one way. I do a lot of templates,
mm,
really kind of talking through things with people, giving them advice, helping
mm,
them with their tech stack flow.
mm,
So we do all of that in the community, and
mm,
Q&As. We do monthly Q&A calls, and then I do
mm,
one-on-one advisory that has a whole
mm.
roadmap that we work
All
together on
right.
how to do
Mm,
things and how to
mm,
handle.
mm,
So my advisory program is, if you're going to go
mm,
one-on-one with me, I
mm,
also have it in a group model. It's
mm,
12 months, but
mm.
we walk through
Okay.
everything at
Mm,
that
mm.
point. But
Great.
if you just want to be in a group and get some really good, you
Mm,
know,
mm,
videos and how
mm,
to's and
mm,
fixes, and
mm,
then
mm.
that's definitely the way to go.
Great. Yeah. Yeah. And one last question. So, what is that one tip would you like to give to the firm owners who want to build a scalable and a sellable firm?
Just remember, there is no tomorrow. So whenever you do things, if you're like, oh, I'll do this tomorrow, oh, I'll do this tomorrow, you won't. You need to stop. You need to make time and do it now.
Mm,
Mainly when it comes to documentation, and you, like I said, set your boundaries.
mm,
You built this firm, and you went to work for yourself for a reason, and you need to remember what that reason was. If it's because you wanted to be a stay-at-home mom and have a career, don't
mm,
work 60 hours a week where you don't get to go to your kids' plays and you don't get to go to back in school night. Remember why you're doing what
mm,
you're doing, and
mm,
set those boundaries and build
mm,
your company around those boundaries.
mm,
Don't let everything else tell you what you need to do. Stick to
mm,
those boundaries, because you will regret it. You will end up in the same place you were, except for now you're responsible for everything and you're still missing everything in your life, and you'll regret it.
mm. Thank you so much, Sharon. It was lovely to have you on this Smart Outsourcing Talks. And I think we spoke about everything, I mean, about, how to start a sellable firm. And I think your journey is pretty exciting, because um, uh, I mean, I haven't heard somebody who just started and sold in 6 months. So
It's
I
I'm a
think hats
crazy
off to
person.
you. Created a kind of a model which is highly scalable, sellable model. So thank you for sharing your valuable insights on our show, and hope to see you soon again. I'll see
Yes,
you when
thanks so
we
much for
connect. Yeah,
having
yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah. All right, take care. Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Mm.